Welcome to the channel and welcome to this hobby video. Today I am in search of Agrax Earthshade. Some of you out there, I am sure, will be familiar with this struggle. So this is what I am going to refer to as a bottle of the new Agrax Earthshade. It's about 2 years ago now that this came out, and relatively recently I got to the bottom of my stash of previous, I'll call old Agrax Earthshade. Cracked open this, started using it, and realised the finish was different. And it is quite shiny and glossy. And I thought I just hadn't shaken it. I shook it some more, still glossy. Done a bit of research, asked for some advice, got some opinions, found an alternative. Alternative didn't really work for me. And I've again returned to my search to see what is the closest to the original Agrax Earthshade and some techniques for trying to create the same effect. I have, by amazing happenstance and good fortune, managed to acquire a bottle of the old Agrax Earthshade. Don't worry, I did not need to mortgage my house to get it. So what I've done today is I've rummaged amongst my unfinished projects and found a bunch of undercoated bloodletters. They are red. So I am going to compare old Agrax Earthshade to new Agrax Earthshade, to Two Thin Coats Battle Mud Wash, and no, not that one. One moment, professional all the way. And Vallejo Umber. I've also heard there are ways of using Agrax new, but getting rid of the glossy finish by adding a matte base to it. So I'm going to try that. I'm also potentially, depending on how these finish, going to try thinning them to see if I can recreate the effect. But the first thing I'm going to do is a coat of each of these neat onto 4 of those and see how they compare and contrast. Okay, here we are with the results, and I think we're in a Goldilocks and the Three Bears scenario. So here we have the original Agrax Earthshade. It's a little glossy, but not very. Now we have new Agrax Earthshade. Looks like it's been dunked in art coat. Perhaps not quite that bad, but you get the gist. Far too shiny. This is the effect I'm trying to avoid. If you just compare the two, I mean, that one positively glows. There'll be things that's going to work on, but really there are things that it doesn't work on too. This one, Two Thin Coats, has turned out kind of salmony. It's too matte. It's light, and ironically, this one's too glossy. This one's too matte. That one is just right. No longer in production. Then we have Vallejo Umbra. This is the closest. It's still quite matte. Oh, hang on. Alright, just taking the super steady off so we can zoom in a bit more. This is the closest. It's still quite matte, but it is not so matte as the Two Thin Coats, and it's a reasonably close match to the original. Maybe a little dab of hard coat in there would gloss it up a little bit if that was something that was super desirable. Then I took the matte base. This one was approximately one part matte base to about 5 parts new Agrax. Then when this came out, kind of glossy too. I mean, it's not quite as glossy as the full thing, but still pretty glossy. If I put the target next to it, it's a lot glossier than it. So I tried then doing a 50-50 mix. And this is fairly close. As you can see, it's toned down a lot from the neat new Agrax, but still there's quite a bit more sheen than on the original Agrax. So, I don't know, I mean, a ratio of higher than 1:1 to try and get a similar effect? Maybe. It's incredibly thick when it was going on. It was like putting paste onto the model and just zhuzhing it round. I thought it was going to dry so thick as to wreck the model, but that appears not to be the case. Now I've mixed up what's what. No, this one was over here. Uh-oh. Yeah, this is our original. So, for an out-the-bottle use, maybe Umbra. I'm realising now that I don't think I'm going to reach a conclusion in this video. I suppose I could try Umbra with a tiny little bit of hard coat in it and see how that comes out. Or I could try Agrax with 2:1 matte base. See what that does to it. I mean, I've got about 80 blood letters kicking about that I got in a job lot. So yeah, let's try those two things. I think 2 thin coats is definitely being relegated. It'll work for some things that need to be super matte, but not... See, the thing I'm concerned about is replicating existing schemes. I've used Devlin Mud and then its successor Agrax Earthshade for a long time, and I've got a lot of armies that I am trying to add to, so I need to be able to get close to this. This does not cut it. This is not good. So Umbra's a possibility, but let's experiment with thinning out the new Agrax with even more matte base and putting a little bit of gloss into the Umbra. Okay, so we have 2 new results. This did start with an attached sword. I broke it whilst I just caught it and it popped off. So this is 10 drops of Vallejo, 1 drop of Ardcoat. And then this one at the end here is roughly 2:1 of matte base and new Agrax Earthshade. And the results of both of them are pretty similar. I don't know that I'd be able to tell these apart. I think probably I would put less Ardcoat in here. I would maybe go 20:1 rather than 10, because it is quite a lot shinier than the basic version. But sorry, the untampered with version. But all 3 of these are passable for old Agrax. So I have 2 ways of reproducing old Agrax. Vallejo Umbra with a little dab of basically gloss varnish, or putting a very small amount of Agrax Earthshade into a matte base. Right, so I am going to write those in my painting notebook so that I have 2 different ways of getting around the... it's not an abomination. It would be very useful if that's the effect I wanted to create. But the getting a way back to old Agrax via a combination by those 2 combinations. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you've got any other methods, any other ways, if you think I've missed anything or if I'm being inaccurate, let's share notes. Hope you found this useful. Take care. See you in the next one. Bye for now.